The long ride for the payphone was the day communication stopped. Our day was started early for our chance to get to the farmhouse before others had a chance to get what we wanted. The day was a warm one, and the traffic had our time slowed. The journey would be long, but it would be a quick jump to the countryside after we had gotten off the interstate. We all packed into the pickup truck and headed north by northwest. It would take just over an hour to arrive at our destination. Every time that we did one of these long trips, there would be two of us in the front of the truck's cab and one in the back. We did this many times over the years, and I always felt that the ride home was quicker than the ride there. We always stopped for breakfast to get our energy up. A brief intermission in a drive-through, and the road was ahead of us. The music was playing, but the bags of food and the drinks made the most noise. When the food was done, the cigarettes came out, and we all had a smoke. Windows rolled down in the summer weather. We had gotten deeper into the journey, and I started to think that this wasn't a good place to break down. No place is. Then my mind started up even more. Thoughts came to me rapidly now. Did he check the oil? Did they know I had just eaten an edible? It seems that my psyche always wanders in the open, and believe me when I say we were in the great outdoors. This trip was different than the previous ones. I felt something strange, but in the back of my mind I thought, was the edible working? We maneuvered the twisting back roads deep in the terrain of the foothills. The sun was shining brightly as the morning entered the early afternoon. Cabin fever started to set in for us, and we needed to get out of the truck. 2 more turns and we would arrive at our destination. Freedom was just around the corner now. The desolate farmhouse showed its colors as we pulled into the yard 50 feet beyond the gate. The 3 of us looked around at the property, and I knew that I wasn't the only one thinking, what the fuck are we doing here? We exited the vehicle, and we walked in the direction of an older woman scraping up what appeared to be piles of horse manure. It sure looked and smelt like that to me. We gathered around her as she continued to shovel the last of the pile of waste. She never broke stride as she said to us, "You 3 here for the payphone?" Jack spoke first, and he said, "Either that or I'm lost. Do you offer elephant rides?" The woman looked him up and down and she said, "You're a wise ass, aren't you?" Erica interjected and laughed to break the ice. She said, "Of course we're here for the payphone." I laughed because I recognized Erica's sarcasm. Erica looked at me and she said, "Shut up, Damon." The woman stopped shoveling and she informed us that the payphone was around the back in the horse trailer. We followed her lead and realized that we were getting deeper into the property. A stray dog roamed the endless fields as we walked to the trailer for our treasure. The woman stopped and pointed to the back of the trailer where the payphone sat. It felt odd to me that we had to enter the animal hauler. The only other thing that concerned me was the Bowie knife on her obese hip. Jack and I entered the trailer to retrieve the payphone and to get it out of there as quickly as possible. Erica was talking to the older woman about the beautiful day while we did so. The payphone was leaning in an awkward position in the corner of the horse trailer. This made it extremely hard to maneuver in the fashion of lifting it out with ease. After a few tense moments, the payphone was free from the corner, and we lifted it to the exit of the trailer. Erica paid the old woman after listening to her stories about Tennessee and her move back home. A few $20 bills later, and we had the payphone in the truck. We all looked forward to the ride home. Jack was pleased with the purchase. He had always been a collector of different types of payphones and arcade games, and this new one would be added to his collection. We piled into the truck, and we put the windows down to eject the heat out of the cab. The old woman walked up to Erica's door and she said, "If you hear a ringing sound, just ignore it, and don't go walking in the hills." She laughed in a sinister way, and she walked out of view. The 3 of us didn't know what she was talking about as Jack put the truck into drive, and then we got out of there. We made our way through the hills to get back to the interstate. It was getting dark as the clouds rolled in, as if to tell us a storm was coming. We were still deep in the foothills when a loud popping noise broke the silence of our tranquil ride home. The truck swerved off the road and into the ditch. This rattled us as we came to a stop. The first thing we did was make sure that we weren't hurt, and then we exited the vehicle. Come to find out, we had a flat tire, and the mystery of the loud popping sound was solved. We were stuck in a ditch a few miles from the interstate, and a few miles from the farmhouse. To make matters worse, the rain had started to come down, and our cell phone service was non-existent. We were stuck without a way out of the deep ditch. We knew that there were a few ways out of this situation, and we had to make a choice quickly. The first thing that I said was, I guess we can either walk to the interstate or we can go back to the farmhouse for help. Erica looked at me and she said, I'm not walking anywhere. I'm sure someone will pass by soon enough and they will stop and help us. I thought that might be a good idea, but I snapped out of it when Jack said, We have to do something. We just can't sit here and let the hours pass. The sky continued to get darker, and there was no sign of the storm letting up. We sat in the truck for a few minutes to compose ourselves and make a plan for the situation. None of us saw any traffic moving our way, but we did notice a trail on the other side of the ditch. This seemed to be our closest option, and our move had to be made. After we had finished our cigarettes, we got out of the truck and headed the way of the trail. The rain was starting to flood the ditch with water and mud. I was pissed because I had just purchased a new pair of shoes, and this would be a costly mistake for my footwear. The ditch was steep, and the rain and mud didn't help the matter. Jack got a running start, and he was out of the ditch and on the trail. Next it was Erica's turn, and she made it just enough as Jack grabbed her hand and pulled her up to the trail. I would be the final member of our group to give it a go, but as I prepared for my running start, we all went silent. A ringing was coming from the back of the truck. It rang a few more times before Erica said, Jack, is that what I think it is? Jack said, Either that or my water bottle is echoing. I broke my silence and said, Should I pick it up or what? I walked through the mud and opened the shell window and tailgate. I hopped inside and crawled to the front where the payphone was ringing. I picked up the receiver and I said, Who is this? The voice on the other end said, Why would you choose the trail? I heard a loud click, and then the dial tone entered my ear. I backed out of the truck's bed and jumped down right into a puddle. I sped to Jack and Erica, and I informed them about the caller's statement. That was strange enough because the question that we all had was, How is the payphone ringing? Erica said to me, So are you coming up or not? I said, What about the phone call? Jack laughed. Without thinking, I raced to the top of the ditch, and I was freed from the puddles of rain and mud. Without saying a word, we began to walk the trail side by side. The sky was as dark as it was going to get as thunder played in the background. We walked under the trees on the trail, and without warning, a bolt of lightning hit a tree behind us. I jumped as the loud thud of the tree hit the trail, and the flashes from the sky lit up. It rattled us, and we knew that there was no going back now. Even if we wanted to, we couldn't. The tree had blocked any chance of that route. The afternoon had been a disaster as we continued on in the storm. The trail seemed to be getting darker, and we needed to hurry to our destination for help. We walked for 20 minutes, and the rainstorm finally stopped. The clouds cleared, and we saw a sign a few feet ahead of us. We stopped at it, and we all read it. It had a message on it that said, You chose the trail. Watch out for the hikers. I said, This sucks, I'm having a smoke. The summer heat had returned, so we drank some water. Erica told us, We won't be seeing anyone out here, and if we do, they wouldn't be any help to us. I took the comment with a grain of salt as we walked the trail deeper into our journey. I was hoping that we would find some kind of existence soon. The trail came to a fork, and we had a decision to make with 2 ways and 3 voices. I knew a vote was coming, but then suddenly a scream came from the left side of the trail's fork. We all ran to the right, and 30 yards into the trail it started to move downhill. We were confident that we were safe. Either that or our smoker's lungs ran out of breath because we stopped. Things had gotten even worse as I tripped over what I thought was a rock. I composed myself, but I was having trouble getting up from the ground. My ankle was twisted, and I just sat there. Erica and Jack approached me, and I said, I fell over that rock. They looked at the ground and then at each other. I looked again, and I saw that there was a human hand sticking out of the moist dirt. We looked around and noticed many fresh bodies and a few skeletons, and they all had hiker gear on. The message on the sign had come true. I had enough. We all did. Erica and Jack helped me up, and we struggled to the bottom of the trail. We reached the road 2 hours after the rainstorm, and we saw a gas station across the small highway. To our surprise, we saw Jack's truck next to the gas pumps and a sign at the entrance that said, Payphone for sale. No one said a thing as I passed out from the pain in my leg. The next thing I remembered was Erica tapping me on my shoulder as my tired eyes woke up. She said to me, We're home, and I know you ate my edible, you little jerk.